Can you hear the silence before the impact? That 1 second when all the characters are on their knees, hearts racing, and you, on the other side of the screen, already know something terrible is about to happen. But you're still not prepared? That's exactly how millions of fans felt on that October night in 2016. The Walking Dead had given us countless brutal deaths over the years. Glenn escaping under the dumpster, Carol blowing up Terminus, Rick ripping out a man's throat with his teeth. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared us for that moment at the Savior's Camp. 7 seasons building characters, 7 seasons creating bonds, and then, in less than 10 minutes, everything crumbled. Sit down and let me tell you about the scene that split the fandom in half. Abraham Ford was different. From the moment he appeared on the show, you knew that man wasn't made of the same stuff as the other survivors. While most were trying to adapt to the apocalypse, Abraham seemed born for it. An army sergeant who lost everything: family, purpose, reason to live, and still kept marching. You know, what's interesting, most characters in The Walking Dead carry guilt. Rick, Carol, Daryl, they all have ghosts haunting them. But Abraham, he carried rage. A rage he channeled into every Walker skull he crushed, every sarcastic joke, every perfectly ginger mustache. And it was exactly that rage, that refusal to bow down, that made his death so devastating. When Negan showed up with Lucille, that barbed wire-wrapped baseball bat that became a symbol of pure terror, the air changed. Jeffrey Dean Morgan stepped into that show and immediately owned every scene. You couldn't take your eyes off him, even when you wanted to look anywhere else. The choice of who would die was made by fate. That children's rhyme, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, playing with the lives of characters we'd loved for years. And when the bat stopped on Abraham, he didn't flinch. Stop, breathe, and think about that for a second. You're on your knees. A psychopath with a bat is about to destroy your head in front of everyone you love. Fear would be natural. Crying would be understandable. Begging would be human. Abraham looked up, squared his shoulders, and answered the man who was about to kill him. Those 3 words, which I won't repeat here, but you know exactly what they were, summed up everything Abraham was: defiant until his last breath, refusing to give Negan the satisfaction of seeing him broken. Michael Cudlitz delivered the performance of his life in that moment, a simple look that said, "You can take my life, but you won't take my dignity." And then came the impact. The brutality of that scene divided opinions for years. Some said it was too much, that it crossed a line that shouldn't have been crossed. Others argued it was exactly what the show needed, a visceral reminder that in that world, nobody was safe. But you know what few people discuss? The narrative genius behind that choice. Abraham had just found something to live for again. After losing his original family, after wandering without purpose, he'd finally found love with Sasha. He was finally looking toward the future with hope. And it's exactly at that moment when a character finds the light that The Walking Dead chooses to extinguish that light forever. Cruelty. Maybe, but it's also storytelling in its purest and most devastating form. Abraham's death did something few TV deaths managed to do. It reminded us we were watching a show about survival, not invincible heroes. It didn't matter how many walkers you killed, how many villains you defeated, how many communities you built. In the end, one man with a bat could end it all. And there was another element that made this scene even more powerful. The other characters watching, Rick Grimes, the man who led this group through hell, reduced to tears and trembling. Daryl, always so controlled, breaking with rage. Maggie, pregnant and powerless. Carl, forced to witness yet another atrocity no child should ever see. The camera spared us nothing. It didn't cut to a softer angle, didn't lower the sound of the blows. It forced us to feel every second of that violence, just as the characters were forced to watch. That's what separates great television moments from merely shocking ones. It wasn't just about Abraham dying, it was about the impact of that death on everyone around him. It was about destroying the sense of safety the group had built. It was about showing that Negan wasn't just another villain. He was a force of nature disguised as a man. There's something else few people notice about this scene too. Abraham knew. Look again at his expression before the blow. He's not surprised. He's not in shock. Somehow, he'd already accepted it would be him. And in that acceptance, he found the strength to be Abraham Ford one last time. Some characters die as victims. Others die as martyrs. Abraham Ford died as a warrior. Years later, when fans discuss the most impactful deaths in television history, this scene appears on practically every list. Not because of the violence itself, but because of the emotional weight it carried, for everything it represented, for that final phrase that echoed long after the credits rolled. The Walking Dead was never the same after that night. The show had officially proven it wasn't afraid to go too far, that it was willing to sacrifice beloved characters to tell the story it wanted to tell, and we, as an audience, were forced to decide, continue on this brutal journey or give up. Millions chose to continue because deep down, we wanted to see justice. We wanted to see Rick get up off that ground and fight back. We wanted Abraham's death to mean something, and maybe that's what makes great characters immortal. Even after they're dead, they make us feel so much that we keep carrying them with us. Years after their final episode, Abraham Ford may have lost his life that night, but he gained something few characters ever achieved: immortality in the memories of those who watched. Now, tell me something. If it were you in that circle, on your knees looking into Negan's eyes, would you have the courage to say anything?